What's on, ladies and gentlemen? My name's Ross, I like games, and today we've got another lovely new Transformers TCG card that we need to be having a little bit of a look at. And it's very exciting, of course, because it's got one of them there new, well, I'm calling them conditional icons, but the Transformers TCG folk are calling them hybrid icons. I prefer my name. But I am fully aware that they designed the game, and that actually if it comes down to an argument as to which one of us is right, probably their opinion counts for more than mine. Hurts me to say it, but I think that's probably fair to say. The card is hull down, and it's a tank card, kind of, and it's a secret action. So starting off with the pip then, we got a little picture of a tank. Remember that the pictures, the icons on all of these battle pips now are taken directly from the actual cards themselves. The tank icon we see here is the same tank icon we see on tanks. And it's an orange pip if you're a tank. So remember these new hybrid icon rules. It is an orange icon if you flip it while attacking with a tank. And it is no icon whatsoever if you flip it while attacking as anything other than a tank. Cool. It's fine. It's alright. Now it is worth pointing out, of course, that it is still an orange pip for the purposes of orange cards. So to use an example of a card that I love but would never be played with this, how about a bit of the old Electrified Spikes? Electrified Spikes is one of those cards that is conditional on flipping a certain amount of icons. So Electrified Spikes goes on to a Dinobot, and if you are defending and you flip yourself at least 2 orange icons, you do 1 damage to the attacker. Can't imagine you really playing, well, maybe you play some kind of Grimlock / tank deck. I could see it. But the point is, Electrified Spikes, this would count, but then if Grimlock was attacking and flipped this, you wouldn't get the extra orange. It is an orange icon for the purposes of other cards, but it only gives you the attack boost, i.e. the +1 attack while attacking, if used when a tank is attacking. There we go. What does it actually do? Well, it is a secret action that is revealed when one of your characters defends, and you get tough 4 until the end of the battle. And the great news is that unless your opponent's doing something to tap their final character, using a tap skill on a Micromaster for argument's sake, then you're going to be defending during your turn. Now, we've seen a bunch of these, right? We have seen a bunch of secret actions that trigger when you're defending. But this is a good one. And as far as it goes, tough 4 is huge. Now, it is very, very reminiscent of one of the cards we were shown yesterday. We did see a couple of hybrid icon cards yesterday. They did introduce us to the concept, really, in the game. And we saw Lock on Target, which was a conditional blue icon if you're a plane, and it gave you bold 4. And really, I'm going to use a similar kind of example to what I used yesterday. We're looking at superior armor, or superior plating as it's actually called. Superior plating will give you tough 4, and to be fair, it is an upgrade rather than an action, which means it stays around. But it kind of is an action, because you've got to play tech research as your action, and then play superior plating, and then you get tough 4. Well, that's kind of awkward. Tough 4 is not something we just throw around willy-nilly here, alright? Tough 4 is something which takes a while to get. And it's worth remembering that in the Transformers TCG, there's generally a trend towards attacking being stronger. For fairly obvious reasons. If defense was better than attack, we could all just defend our way to really long, boring draws. That wouldn't be fun. So it's like back in the base set when the average attack was 4 and the average defense was 2. When we had Supercharge that gave us bold 3, but we didn't have any battle card, any action card that would give us tough 3 as a counterpoint. Now, what is very interesting is that we do have a secret action at the moment that will give you tough free. It's Hidden Fortification. It is revealed on one of your character's defense, and when it is revealed, that character gets tough free until end of battle. Now, that one has an actual just blue pip, and again, if you're playing a defensive deck, you want to be stacking it full of blue pips. A conditional orange pip is not as good as a blue pip in a defensive deck, let's be super clear. But tough 4 is better than tough 3. So again, we're in a very, very similar question to what we were talking about with Lock on Target yesterday. And it's just, are you willing to swap a blue icon for an extra tough? Is it worth flipping an extra battle card while defending if there are fewer blue pips to hit? And the answer is a lot of the time yes, especially if you're playing stuff like Security Checkpoint and Handheld Blaster, which are going to be giving you those double blue icons. Yeah, might well be worth it, because then you might hit that double blue. And of course, if you're flipping one more with tough, then there's a decent chance you might hit a white icon, which then gives you 2 more cards, as a nice little example. So it is better than Hidden Fortification, though it has a less advantageous pip. And if you're playing it purely for the tough, good news, Hidden Fortification is now unplayable garbage. But it does have a better pip, so let's not be too harsh. Now, of course, looking through recent winning deck lists, we did see that the Galaxy Prime list, with which Stefan Pickney won the Pro Player Tour in Orlando, that deck did play Hidden Fortification, but it also played Sabotaged Armaments. And generally speaking, the good defensive blue decks tend to play Sabotaged Armaments, even going to Daniel Arnold's Energon Invitational winning deck. If you're looking for a when you defend secret action, Sabotaged Armaments, at least among the decks that are doing really well and winning, is by far the choice. And I mean by far the choice. It's not terribly close. Sabotaged Armaments is great. You reveal it when you defend, and there is that blue pip, and we said the blue pip is good. And when it's revealed, you scrap all of the attacker's weapons. So your opponent's got something like a grenade launcher, ha ha ha, they don't get the +4 attack. But it's more than that, because they might have a bunch of other weapons which are going to be sticking around turn after turn after turn. They might have something like Noble's Blaster, for instance, which is going to be giving +2 attack and is going to be giving extra Pierce as well. Or they might have something like Energon Axe, which is going to be giving extra attack plus Pierce. So, something to bear in mind, I think. Now, I've not talked a huge amount about the tank aspect of this, because I don't think it's necessarily a tank card. I mean, if you're playing a hyper-defensive deck with a whole bunch of blue icons, it's not going to make a huge difference most of the time whether you hit an orange icon or no icon. Of course it will when you're attacking, but if you're playing a handful of orange icons, you're not going to hit them when attacking all that often. In a tank deck, I love it. I absolutely love it. Because tanks tend to be quite defensive. I mean, they got hunkered down, for goodness sake, which gives them, well, it lets them flip and gives them an extra armor from the discard pile per tank, which really adds up to a lot of armor quickly. And maybe this is going to be the card that goes and makes those tanks, for want of a better phrase, tankier and better. Or maybe they don't need it. Maybe it's not good enough. Maybe the orange icon becomes a little bit irrelevant. But I think they do. And I think this is good. And we've got parallel cards which are seeing play in high-level tournament-winning decks that are objectively worse. In effect, not in pip. And that's what we're seeing. We've seen 3 of these so far. I've already mentioned Lock on Target. I could mention Headbutt. That's the other one we saw yesterday. And what we're really seeing already, and this is probably going to end up being a theme as we go through looking at these hybrid icons or conditional icons, good cards, awkward pips. Because the ones we've seen so far are good cards. Like genuinely good cards. But for an awful lot of decks and characters, they're just going to end up being blank pip cards. And blank pip cards have to be really good cards. So there we go. Certainly, when I'm making tank decks in the future, and I've always had a bit of a soft spot for tanks, I'm going to be playing around with this. But I'd like to know if you're going to be. I'd like to know your opinion on this. I'd like to know if you think these are going to be amazing, or whether you think that the pips are just a little bit too awkward. Let me know in the comment section. Go nuts! Be nice! And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at the Wossy, where we talk Transformers and a whole bunch of other games, and do please consider checking out patreon.com/PTCG Radio, where you can support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and all kinds of fun things. But by far the most important thing is always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching Wossy Plays.